about what the motivation anybody thinks I had and would act on in such a public poll. I don't understand it. And the allegations I take very seriously. They're saying that this was election interference, which is a crime. So the idea that I intentionally set up to deliver this response when I've never done that before, I've had plenty of opportunities to do it. It's not my ethic. But to suggest without a single shred of evidence that I was in cahoots with somebody, I was being paid by somebody, it's all just kind of, it's hard to pay too much attention to it, except that they're accusing me of a crime.
What's up, y'all? Gerald here, creator of Gospel Chops and your host for this YouTube channel, back with another video. Now, y'all, the mainstream media is finding out. They're finding out the hard way, but they're finding out that Donald Trump ain't playing. Y'all thought it was a game. Y'all thought you could take this man's wealth. You thought you could take his freedom. You thought you could take his life. And that a man like this wouldn't strike back? Wouldn't want some type of retribution against you? No, this media is finding out the hard way. Now that Donald Trump has won the 2024 election, it is set to take the Oval Office on January 20th, 2025. They are realizing that their demise is afoot. Yeah, the end of the game is at hand for the mainstream media and for all of those who colluded, who conspired against this man. And here we have Ann Selzer, a respected pollster, respected not only by the media, not only by the political elite, but by her peers, a pollster who has been pretty accurate throughout her career, who's been pretty reliable throughout her career. And all of a sudden in 2024, something happened with Ann Selzer. Nearing the end of the political cycle, this woman, she released some poll results that said Donald Trump was going to lose Iowa, and everybody, including myself, was scratching her head like, yo, are you serious? Not only did his poll numbers shrink in Iowa, according to Ann Selzer, but she eventually reported that he would lose Iowa, of all places, y'all, to Kamala Harris. Seemed strange, seemed odd, but it had everybody's eyebrows knitted together like, oh my goodness, what is going on in this political climate? Is Donald Trump about to lose Iowa? Why? Because we relied upon the reputation of Ann Selzer. She released that false, fake information, and then she retired swiftly. Well, well, Ann, Miss Selzer, you put all of your decades of reputation on the line for something. Something happened. Something was different in this cycle. We were able to lean on you. We were able to depend on you. You were accurate beyond all measure, such that your peers recognized you and respected you to a certain degree. But this time around was different, Miss Selzer. You put that information out there and you swiftly retired. We don't know why you did it, but we know you did it. And what the mainstream media is finding out, y'all, in this lame duck session environment situation before Donald Trump takes office, he's already acting as the president, even though he's just the president-elect. James O'Keefe just released a video, said a secret video that said the president can't even complete a sentence. Y'all, dementia has taken over. This man is not there. Should have been impeached. But I know why they didn't impeach him. Because they didn't want the cackling woman to be named as president. I get it. But y'all fell for the okie doke in 2020 that led us to this point. So here we are, where Donald Trump is about to put boot to backside of not only the mainstream media, but all of those who conspired against him. And it seems like, and it's just my opinion, seems like Ann Selzer, who says that she didn't take a payoff, didn't take a check, wasn't enticed to do so, seems like something influenced her to put out this report that was so different from things that she's done in the past. Y'all can see, just look at her history, you can see the pivot. Why were you so wrong, Ann Selzer? Why were your results in 2024 so different than the pattern you've established throughout your career? Why, Ann Selzer, did you decide to retire right after you released these results? Did you think that you could escape accountability? Oh, if that's what you thought, you made a huge mistake, because Donald Trump is going to sue you personally. He's going to sue the news outlet that you worked for. He is coming for his retribution, y'all. You tried to take his credibility, you tried to take his honor, you tried to take his freedom, and you tried to take his life. This man ain't playing. And I think everyone needs to understand what this is about. Those of us who voted for him understood from the gate. No, this man need to get some get back, because we've never seen anything like this in our lifetime. And thus, y'all, we have laughed and acknowledged the fact that ABC News has agreed to a settlement in the lawsuit that Donald Trump filed against them and George Stephanopoulos. He gonna have to pay out his own personal pockets. George got to pay about $1 million or so. ABC News agreed to pay $15 million, donated to Donald Trump's presidential library, wherever that's going to be. There will be more. There will be more carnage. There will be more suffering amongst the mainstream media, and there needs to be, because the house needs to be clean. There needs to be a reckoning. Y'all need to understand that you can't do this. See, the left-wing media has gotten out of control over the last few years, and they have been promoting things that are anti-American, anti-Christian. And I know everybody ain't got to be a Christian, but you got to acknowledge that this is a Christian-based country. So when you as a news media promote things that are anti-Christian, understand you are going against the foundation of this nation. You have promoted things that are anti-Christian, anti-Trump, anti-family. Well, we appreciate the fact that Donald Trump survived it all. The Teflon Don, as some of us call him. He has survived it all, survived your bullets and your tactics. He about to put boot to backside and make America great again.
And you're a self-described data girl, right? And Kay mentioned the poll that came out right before the election. I'm sure you've been crunching the numbers since. What have you learned? What went wrong?
Well, I'm not here to break any news. If you're hoping that I had landed on exactly why things went wrong, I have not. It does sort of awaken me in the middle of the night, and I think, well, maybe I should check this. This is something that would be very odd if it were to happen, but we've explored everything. The Des Moines Register, in an unprecedented move for transparency, has put online our crosstabs, our weighting system, and my analysis, and that I've not needed to update because it was pretty complete. We don't know. Do I wish I knew? Yes, I wish I knew. But as I sit here today, one of the political commentators before election, but after the poll, said, they've got all of these pollsters that are fidgeting with their numbers, and they're adding this into their weighting structure, and they're doing this with their sampling. And Ann Selzer has never had anything to fix. Well, till now.
Yeah. Well, and I'm glad you mentioned that, and Katerina's going to ask you a little bit more about methodology, so I won't get deep into it yet. But as Kay mentioned, you have a number of polls in the past that were remarkably accurate, and not just when everybody else was, on occasions when others were not, like that Ernst Braley poll in 2014. And maybe the answer is the same, but I'm just curious if you have any sense of why that methodology that has served you well for most of your previous careers suddenly did not in 2024.
I wish I knew the answer to that. But like I said, there wasn't anything that we saw that needed to be fixed. The reality is that more people supporting Donald Trump turned out. I'm eagerly awaiting the Secretary of State's turnout reports that will happen in January to see what we can glean from that. But there wasn't an adjustment to my data when we saw that it was going to be a shocker that I would have said, okay, let's adjust it. It's not like I know ahead of time what the right numbers are going to be in the future. So you kind of take the data designed to reveal to me our best shot at what the future is going to look like. I'm mystified about what the motivation anybody thinks I had and would act on in such a public poll. I don't understand it. And the allegations I take very seriously. They're saying that this was election interference, which is a crime. So the idea that I intentionally set up to deliver this response when I've never done that before, I've had plenty of opportunities to do it. It's not my ethic. But to suggest without a single shred of evidence that I was in cahoots with somebody, I was being paid by somebody, it's all just kind of, it's hard to pay too much attention to it, except that they're accusing me of a crime.
Don't get it twisted. She has reason to be worried because the way she acted in the 2024 election cycle is very different from anything she's ever done before. It's out of character, which leads people like me to question, what motivated you to do this? You weren't just slightly wrong, you were incredibly inaccurate in your polling. Where did this come from? This is so out of character that we feel like there's been some kind of motivation that prompted this. And we're going to get to the bottom of it. How? Because Donald Trump is going to sue you personally. Yeah, you're going to find yourself on the wrong side of history, having made a bad decision that will break you. You're going to have to liquidate your assets just to pay attorney's fees. This man is going to bleed you out. Girl, you better come clean and better come clean quick before you exhaust all of your resources to try to maintain. Donald Trump is going to wait you out. He's going to bleed you out. And you will find at the end of this, the truth is still going to come out one way or the other. You might as well tell it early on and say that. As many of us believe in this business, somebody paid you off. Listen, that Harris Walz campaign had $2.5 million. The number keeps going up. $2.5 million, according to one Democrat donor. Says that y'all blew through all that money. Well, if you could throw that money to Al Sharptongue, and you could throw that money to Roland Martin, and you could throw that money to Oprah Winfrey, why wouldn't you throw that kind of money to Ann Selzer to interfere in the election? You had a lot of money to throw around, and everybody knows that people in this business respond to cash. Ann Selzer wants to maintain her integrity, but no, this was not an integral act. Sis, we looking at you funny because you're acting funny.
Please. Could you just comment on?
I want to expand on the defamation lawsuits. Could you see moving that to other people with individual platforms, social media influencers, people that...
Or newspapers, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I do. I think you have to do it because they're very dishonest. We need a great media. We need a fair media. We need, it's very important. And we need borders. We need walls, but we need borders and we need fair elections. You look at California, millions and millions of ballots were sent out. They're still counting the vote in California with the machines. They're counting the vote. If you had paper ballots, the votes would have been counted 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Now, you need fair elections, you need borders, and you need a fair press. And the press is. No, I see others. I have a few others that I'm doing. I'm going to, as an example, I'm doing this not because I want to. I'm doing this because I feel I have an obligation to. I'm going to be bringing one against the people in Iowa, their newspaper, which had a very, very good pollster who got me right all the time. And then just before the election, she said I was going to lose by 3 or 4 points. And it became the biggest story all over the world because I was going to win Iowa by 20 points. The farmers loved me and I loved the farmers. And it was interesting the way she did it. She brought it down 2 weeks before. She said I was going to only win by 4. That was a big story. But that was good because she brought it down from like 22 points to 4 or whatever the number was, way up, easy win. We never even thought to go there. I respect them. I love them. And they understand there's no reason to go there because she brought it from way up, walk away, which it was. And it turned out to be in the election, too, by the way. It was a win by many, many points. And then she brought it down very smartly to 4 a couple of weeks before. And everyone said, wow, that's amazing. He's only up by 4 points. Then she brought it down to where I was down by 3 or 4, whatever number she used. And that was the Des Moines Register. And it was their parent. And in my opinion, it was fraud and it was election interference. You know, she's gotten me right always. She's a very good pollster. She knows what she was doing. And she then quit before. And we'll probably be filing a major lawsuit against them today or tomorrow. We're filing one on 60 Minutes, you know about that, where they took Kamala's answer, which was a crazy answer, a horrible answer, and they took the whole answer out and they replaced it with something else she said later on in the interview, which wasn't a great answer, but it wasn't like the first one. The first was grossly incompetent. It was weird. And that was fraud and election interference by their news magazine, a big part of CBS News. So as you know, we're involved in that one. We're involved in one which has been going on for a while and very successfully against Bob Woodward, where he didn't quote me properly from the tapes. And then on top of everything else, he sold the tapes, which he wasn't allowed to do. He could only use them for reporting purposes, not for sale purposes. And he admits that. And I think we'll be successful on that one. And we have one very interestingly on Pulitzer because reporters at the New York Times, Washington Post got Pulitzer Prizes for their wonderful, accurate, and highly professional reporting on the Russia hoax. Well, it turned out to be a hoax, and they were exactly wrong. People, like many people, John Solomon, Sean Hannity's not for Pulitzer, but Sean Hannity got it right. Many people got it right. Tucker got it right. Jesse got it right. Laura got it right. Janine got it right. A lot of people got it right. They didn't get anything. They gave it to reporters that got it absolutely wrong. And now everybody admits it was a hoax. And I want them to take back the Pulitzer Prizes and pay big damages. And I think we're doing very well on that one. They have no excuse for it. They gave a Pulitzer Prize to writers that got Russia wrong. And so I think we're doing well. And I feel I have to do this. I shouldn't really be the one to do it. It should have been Justice Department or somebody else, but I have to do it. It costs a lot of money to do it, but we have to straighten out the press. Our press is very corrupt, almost as corrupt as our election.
And there you have it, y'all. You can see why the mainstream media is tripping, why they stressing over Donald Trump's next administration, his next presidency, because he has made it clear, I'm coming for you. No, this is not about vengeance. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, but retribution is mine, saith Donald Trump. I'm coming for everything that you took, everything that you tried to take, everything that you stole. I'm going to put boot to backside to this government. We're going to clean house. There is a cleansing that must take place, and there will be much carnage in the process. Y'all, I'm with Donald Trump. Clean it out. We've seen governmental corruption in all of these three-letter organizations, from the FBI to the CIA to the NSA to the NIH. All of these organizations, get in there and clean house. throw them all out, fire them all, rebuild the government. Burn it all down if you must, and we will rebuild from the ashes. We are a strong country. We are a strong people. As long as we keep our eyes on God, we will be able to rebuild, even if you tear it all down. So we support the MAGA movement. We support the Maha movement. We believe America is going to be greater again in this Donald Trump 2.0 administration. But we are not naive. We are not misled. We're going to stay prayerful for all of it. For the cabinet, for the administration, for the country. We will stay prayerful for all of it. Y'all, let me know what you think about this story in the comments. I'd love to know your thoughts. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video so we can get more people involved in the conversation, y'all. And like I always say, always remember and never forget, without the gospel, it's just chops. Until next time, peace.